I've taken a fictional construct because it actually allows me to explain a lot of the intricacies that went on, a lot of the market dynamics that went on in a way that is much easier to understand.
For lots of people watching, you're a bad guy, especially if you use a title like How I Caused the Credit Crunch. I'm wondering really what prompted you to write the book, other than wanting to become an author. What prompted you to write the book? Is it because you want to explain what went on, or is it because basically you want to create a bit of a sensation about it?
Sure. I mean, I think in the middle of last year, there was an ongoing orgy of scapegoating, where people were trying to blame the bankers, the regulators, the politicians, and they weren't really touching on what I thought were the real issues. And I felt it was very important to actually highlight what the real issues were so that we could actually learn from it and then move on. So the purpose of the book is really to explain that and make sure that the real issues, the things that need to be tackled, are highlighted and that they are explained. And if it takes one person to at least get the ball rolling and say, yes, it is our fault, it is the responsibility of bankers as well as other people, then so be it.
And to do it with a bit of spice involved as well, yeah?
Yes, of course.
I won't spoil the book for people who want to read it, but anyway. Just to pick on one thing, which I think is crucial here, because we were talking there about the FSA today and regulation and all the rest of it. If you were now going to put your finger on one thing that was a major cause of what's gone wrong, is it regulation, or is it greed, and is it a lack of supervision, or what would it be?
I think regulation is, one of the biggest, what was one of the biggest contributors, or the lack of. In the deregulatory environment that we were in, bankers were encouraged within, perfectly legitimate walls to go out, encourage, innovate, create products and sell them without really thinking of the consequences. Greed also did play its part. Bankers thought very short term. 30 years ago, investment banks were partnerships, and the wealth of the partners who ran the firms was tied into the performance. But that changed over the last 30 years. We saw a shift away from a focus on the quality of earnings to just the sheer quantity of earnings, and that certainly aggravated it.
So when you see the kind of things the FSA is proposing today, is that going to do the trick and prevent a repeat of lots of the stuff in this book, or not?
It's certainly a step in the right direction, but the momentum needs to be carried through not only to the G20 summit next month, it needs to be carried through ongoing thereafter, and it needs to be implemented on a global basis, because I think if there are going to be loopholes, they will be exploited. It's like putting a child in a playground. You can build a fence, but they will go to every corner to see if there's anything interesting to do. That needs to be regulated, and if it's not done globally, then there will be loopholes like we've seen in the tax systems globally that have been exploited so profitably, as we're discovering this week.
Interesting to talk to you. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Tets Ishikawa there, and should point out that he's not claiming personal responsibility for causing the credit crunch, though I've got to say it's a good title for a book, so thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.